So today I'm just going to start with one question. How many of you here has ever felt lost in your career, or you are currently feeling lost? Right. Your name, please? Victor. Yeah. Okay, Victor, I'm going to tell you today that it's okay to feel lost. And this happened to me as well. As a young boy, when I was studying in secondary school, I never thought about what I wanted to be in future. Never really gave thought about it. Every day I go to school is to play basketball, play soccer, and I don't really study. Right? Only just before exams. That's what I used to do. And I never knew what was after O levels. If you ask me what's after O levels, I don't know. I'll just follow whatever. And what happened was, after my O levels, I had to choose whether to go to JC or Poly. Can you all guess whether I went to JC or Poly? I went to Poly. Right, so these were the subjects. Let's do a poll. How many of you think I went to do media? Oh, only one person think I'm capable of doing media. How about IT? IT? Okay, a few hands. Engineering. Wow, do I have the engineering kind of face? Who thinks that I did science? Only Lisa.
You look academic.
I look academic.
Yeah.
Without the glasses or with the glasses? With the glasses, look more academic.
Yeah.
So for me, what I did was, Lisa is right. I did science. You want to know the reason why I did science?
Because you follow your friends.
Partly correct. I didn't follow my friends. I followed my elder brother. My elder brother took biomedical science, went to Republic Polytechnic, which is exactly the same polytechnic, same course that I went to. Because I didn't know what to do. Right? The best thing is follow your brother. If your brother's wrong, then blame him. Right? So that was what happened to me. And back then, science was the in thing, the in industry, back in 2005. Right? We had the government building like the whole Buona Vista area to be a science hub. Right? You still remember that? And I went in with a lot of hopes, because one of my strongest subjects in secondary school was bio. So I thought, okay, biomedical science, not too bad. Right? So I went in and take science. But what really happened was that I started losing interest in science. And then I started the whole same cycle again, started playing again. I was not really interested in science. And worse still, they tell me, after you get a diploma in biomedical science, do you know what you're supposed to do? What you can do. Not what you're supposed to do, what you can do. Anybody want to make a guess?
Lab assistant.
Yes. Work in a lab assistant. But I got people who tell me the brutal truth. You are going to wash test tubes. Can you imagine the kind of prospects? Washing test tubes. I cannot imagine myself washing test tubes. But at the same time, I didn't know what am I supposed to do. Right? And what happens after poly? You enlist into the national service. And being as lost as I was, I did the safest thing to do.
Police.
I signed on as in the Air Force. Yeah. They say that in Singapore there are two papers you sign your life away. First is your marriage cert. The other one is signing your life to the military. And so I did both at one time. But I got married much later, right? But I did this. But as you can see, I didn't really sign my life away. So it is a myth. Okay? Because I actively did something to get myself out of that. So this was me on 19th of June 2010. I commissioned as an officer. I was a UAV pilot. Anybody knows what a UAV is? Yeah, most people don't know. When I tell them I'm a UAV pilot, they say, "Wow, Mike, you can fly ah." Well, I'm very impressed, you know. So I tell them, no, I don't fly. I fly the aircraft, This is my aircraft. It's on the ground. Can't seat anybody inside. The aircraft behind can seat people inside. Mine cannot. Okay, what I do is I fly a drone with a camera right here to monitor people, to do surveillance. If you want a more simple term, spy. But not actually spy lah, right? So that was what I did in the Air Force, and I did that for about 8 years, because including all my training, I commissioned in 2010. I only left in 2017, right? So this was what I did for most of my career. At the same time, I felt there was something missing, and I was introduced to this concept. This concept is called Ikigai. How many of you have heard of Ikigai? Right, Ikigai, there are 4 circles to it. For those who are not familiar, 4 circles. There's one circle that a lot of people like to go for, and that is one of the most misguided advice that people will give. They tell you, pursue your passion. You pursue your passion, the money will come. Who believes in that? Nobody believes in that. And I think Alex is going to talk about it later. Why this advice is probably what I call BS lah, right? In fact, Alex is my good friend and my tailor. Today I especially wear the pants that he tailored for me. Yeah, so he's a fantastic guy. So I also look forward to his speech later. So a lot of people say, pursue your passion. I can tell you that is exactly BS, because if you don't have this second thing, right? And this second thing is money. If you're only pursuing your passion and you're not paid for it, do you know what that is? Exactly, it's a hobby. If your passion is not making you money, it is just a hobby. Hobby is things that you do during your free time, during when you really have nothing to do and you want to keep yourself occupied. Right? So these are 2 things, but these are just half of the equation. The other 2 are, you gotta be good at what you do. Right? If you're not good at what you do, then who will pay you? You can be very passionate about swimming, for example, but if you don't even dare to get into the water, how are you going to be an Olympic swimmer like Joseph Schooling? And lastly, is something that a lot of us neglect as well, is what the world needs. What is the impact? What is the meaning that we can give to this world? And a lot of times, what happens is we struggle to find this sweet spot. And in all this, those of you who are feeling lost in your current careers, ask yourself. You don't have to raise up your hands, because I was in this same position. What happened is that a lot of times, one or more is missing. One or more is missing from these 4 quadrants. And for me, it was this, like Avengers, my passion. Right? I was doing things, I was very good at what I do. I reached the highest stage of my flying career. I was instructing people, qualifying people. It was definitely what my country needed me to do. And it paid me pretty well for someone. I started as a diploma grad and I took part-time studies subsequently. So it paid me pretty well, I would say. I paid the bills and I could survive. But something was missing. I felt there was no passion in what I do. And a lot of times, it happens to a lot of us as well. And for me, really, what made me want to do something about it, to find the passion, was also because I felt that there was no sense of fulfillment in what I was doing. You go in to work like a zombie. And guess what? Are the days that you look forward to, you don't look forward to instead. Mondays, and especially Sunday evenings. I tell you, Sunday evenings are worse than Monday mornings. Who agrees? Sunday evenings was much, much worse than Monday mornings for me, because Sunday evenings is like I dread I dread because I had this uneasy feeling within me. At least Monday morning, I know I'm in work, I'm ready to face whatever is to come. Sunday morning feels like it's still so far away. And I really, really dreaded that feeling, that very uncomfortable feeling, because I was in the Air Force. And in the Air Force, the culture is very top-down. There's a hierarchy. Right? Being young, I was almost every day I get scolded. Every day. That's how they mold us. But that is also a lesson in itself, because for me, I may not like my job, but I learned a lot. So for any of you here who don't like your job, I'm going to do a reframing for you. Take it as an opportunity for you to learn, because this is where you're going to learn how to deal with people. Because ask yourself why you don't like your job. You don't like your colleagues, you don't like your bosses. Most of the time it's people. Systems are usually in place, and systems are set by people. So most of the time you don't like people. And these are good lessons for you to learn. When I become a leader, this is not what I want to be. Because a lot of times, I can tell you from my experience, what a lot of people do is when they become leaders, they behave exactly like what they said they don't want to be. And that happened to a lot of my fellow peers who told me, wow, when I was a junior, this guy always scold me every day. So when they become a senior, they started scolding people every day. Not motivating them at all, not encouraging at all. It was just top-down scolding. And for me, I decided that I didn't want to, and I never did. Because if you know, in the military, we use a lot of vulgarities. I have never ever used vulgarity on someone because I didn't believe in it. Because it becomes very personal. So what happened is that I made an attempt to get out of the Air Force. Back in 2013, what I did was, my contract was up. I was thinking, what am I supposed to do? At that point of time, I was still taking my part-time studies. Halfway through. Right, halfway through. But I was a cocky young man. I wanted to go into finance. In the world of finance, I thought that I'm a hot shot. I know a lot of things. And people will hire me even without a degree. Even with a science diploma. Right, that was how cocky I was. So guess what I did? If you dislike your job, what would you do? Anybody will quit your job? Right, that's what I did. I tendered my resignation to my boss. And the thing is, in the Singapore Armed Forces, when you tender your resignation, do you know how long is the notice period? Shorter than that? She said 6 months. 3 months. 3 months. 3 months seems like a pretty short time, and it can also be a long time. How many of you are employers here? Employers? Okay, Marie, would you wait 3 months for a candidate? If you are running a company, you need staff? Yeah. Yes, you are very, very kind, because not a lot of people would wait for 3 months, especially big corporations. They will not wait for you for 3 months. Right, Brandon, you are in HR services. 3 months is a long time, and I have nothing secured. I just went commando, tender first, then say, pursue my passion. So that was what I did. Pursue my passion. And what happened was very, very embarrassing. In that 3 months, I applied for a lot of jobs. Hardly any interviews. Hardly. Right? And I can tell you that it was a very tough time for me. It was a very stressful time for me, because I have never ever been unemployed. I have been living a very comfortable life, going to school, working in the government. It's a very, very safe environment, very sheltered environment. Right. So today I'm going to share with you 3 strategies, 3 plus 3. I started planning this with only 3, but I decided to add on another 3. The first 3 all starts with F. The first F that you must have is called financial reserves. You'll need it. Do you know why a lot of people can't quit their job? Because they do not have enough financial reserves. Imagine you have 1 year worth of financial reserve, 1 year of your income in your bank account. And your boss is really coming down on you very hard. Every day, maybe verbally abuse you. Make you feel so small. What would you do? You say, boss, I quit. But you only have 1 month worth of savings. You do this. No choice. You can't say anything. Everything, yes, boss. I will do it. I will get it done. Right. Financial reserves, you need it. Because what happened to me was this. I had about 1+ months of savings in my bank account. And I was still very cocky. I think I can find a job. So the closest job that I thought that I could get was with a company, in a finance company, as an operations executive. Right? I still keep this email as a reminder to myself. So they tell me, shortlisted for second interview. I was like, wow, finally someone called me for second interview. I've never been through second interview. So I was very happy. Right? I replied them, please note that I'll be there at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. Please don't reply like that. This is very government-like. Please have more emotions when you write emails. Make people feel more comfortable. Right? Thank you for coordinating. So formal. I feel uncomfortable just reading this. And I went for the interview on 9th of July 2013. 9th of July 2013, I went for my second interview. And during the interview, the interviewer told me, wow, we are very impressed with you. I think you are a good fit for a job. However, we have 1 more candidate to interview. We'll let you know in a week's time. Right? And 1 week passed. So I sent an email. Say, have you all made a decision? So, has a decision have been made? I am very keen for this role and would like to explore this opportunity. Yes. Guess what happened next? If they told me, that would be better, because this is the last of the email thread. Happened to you before? That you apply, you got so much hope that you'll get it. People give you so much hope that you'll get it. But then, at the end of the day, they don't even reply to your emails. You feel like, your whole world is crashing when you have put in so much effort and hope into this interview. So what happened next was, I was nearing the end of my 3 months. At that point of time, what happened was that my squadron in the Air Force won a MINDEF level award. So I was the one being put in charge of organizing a party. So my boss then came to, as I was organizing the activity, in the middle, he was giving a speech, and then he called me to the stage. Say, Mike, come here. Say, everybody, please thank Mike. He coordinated all this for us, right? So that we can celebrate, have fun today. Anyway, I'm very sad to announce that he's leaving. So I feel like, wow, so nice. But inside me, I feel like, wow, still haven't found job. How? Inside panicking. So in front of everyone, the whole squadron, hundreds of people, 100 plus lah. He was telling everyone that I'm leaving. And then I reached a point a few weeks later where I was at a crossroads. Because for me, what was lucky about me is I always gave my best at work. And my bosses pretty much like me. My superiors were asking me, would you consider staying? So that seed an idea in me. It's like, could I consider staying? So what happened was, over the next few weeks, I started to thinking, could I consider staying? And I discussed with my then girlfriend, who is my wife now. And guess what answer she gave? Ladies, your name? Pauline. Pauline, what would you say if your partner tells you that has a big decision ahead? Again? What? I can't hear you. What decision? Okay. Pei Rong, what about you? How would you encourage your partner? Again, draw a decision matrix. Okay. So my wife was my then girlfriend, said what most ladies would say to their partners. Whatever you do, whatever you choose, I will support you. To me then it's like, so is it yes or no? I was still very lost. Whether it was helpful or not, maybe emotionally it was helpful, but practically, to help me make the decision, it wasn't helpful at all. I was still at a loss. So what happened really was I made up the decision not to leave. I went to my boss. I said, "Sir, can I please withdraw my resignation?" How many of you have done that? I don't think you will raise your hand. Because this is something that is very embarrassing to say, to even open your mouth. Am I right to say that? For a lot of people, it is embarrassing. Not just to say it. I'm going to tell you what's the worst part. Saying that the saying part to request, the requesting part is not the difficult part. So what happened is my boss asked me, "So how long will you stay? Because it doesn't seem like your heart is here." I said, "Maybe another 1 to 2 years." They say, 1 to 2 years, forget about it. I won't help you fight for it. I say, "How long do you want me to stay?" Because he knows that I was desperate. Then he say, "At least 3 to 4 years." So inside my mind I was like, I better get my job back first lah. Maybe in 3 to 4 years, I'm very, very sure he will not be my boss anymore. Right? Even in 1 or 2 years, he may not be my boss anymore. So I agreed first. So I'm going to tell you what's the most difficult part. The most difficult part was with your colleagues. Because what they're going to do is they're going to start talking behind your back. They say, "Wow, this guy treats this place as a playground. You can come as you like and leave as you like." So it is very demoralizing to hear something like that. So from that day when I made the decision that I want to withdraw my resignation, I only had one thought in my mind. Now is not the time to answer back to all of them, because it's not going to be of any use. What I was going to do is to bury my head and work hard. If they make fun of me, I'll just laugh it off. And work hard I did. Every opportunity that I get, earliest opportunity that I got to promote, I was promoted. And I was not a scholar every 2 years. So that's lesson number 1. Having enough financial reserves so that you can choose what kind of career you want. You can choose what to do. Second is to find a side hustle. Something that you can work on the side. In this economy, you cannot just rely on your full-time job. It can be a hobby, but you have to think whether this hobby can eventually make you money. Agree? Because if you're going to just rely on your full-time job, it's going to be very dangerous. Because one question that all of us should be asking is this: will my role be one day replaced by technology? Because a lot of people are being displaced by technology. You go to Changi Airport, you check in your luggage, you don't even need someone there. You go to NTUC, you may not even need cashiers there in future, because that's what's happening in China, in US, in Amazon. Right. So start thinking, whatever that you're doing, even doctors and lawyers are being replaced by technology. Some of their roles are being replaced by technology. So you can see that the demand for such roles are going to decrease. So you got to find something. For me, that was a lesson to me. The previous episode was a lesson to me. And I thought, what can I do? What can I do such that I can convert all these things into a future job opportunity? But of course, when I started this side hustle that I'm going to talk about in a while, I didn't have a thought of converting it into a business, something that could help me in future. I just did because I wanted to do it. And my wife and I, she started a business helping people to write resume. This was our company's name. Everything was word of mouth. So we were helping people to write resume because she was in HR. She saw a lot of resumes, and what happened was a lot of her friends were asking her, can you help me write my resume? And she got frustrated. Say, everybody's coming to me and exploit my skills. So I thought, let's set up a business, charge people for it. Say, you get the money, right? And I tell her, I would like to value it. Because one thing about me is I've always liked observing people in terms of communication. And what I did was I told her, why don't we add on something more? You help them with the resume, I will help them to prepare for interviews. And that was the start of my career development journey. And you are thinking, hey, but this guy got no experience whatsoever. How are you going to help people prepare for interviews? Well, I've been through failed interviews. And what I did was I went for a lot of courses. I read a lot of books. I even flew all the way to Australia, to the home of Alan and Barbara Pease, to learn from them. So that was how committed I was to doing this. So find something that you can hopefully turn into a income in future. Do not just rely on your current full-time job. Next F is fear. Okay. A lot of us are unable to transit out of our job is because of fear as well. Fear can cripple us. But let me ask all of you, do you think fear is a positive or negative emotion? Who says fear is a negative emotion? I'm going to tell you that any emotions, I wouldn't call them positive or negative. That is a misconception. So whether it's constructive or destructive. Say for example, if you have never been in water before, right? And you are, let's say, maybe let me use another example. You're afraid of heights. You're afraid of heights, right? And you're walking along a tall building with where you don't have anything to hold on to. You may fall off anytime. Does that fear help you, or does that fear hold you back? The fear is going to help you, because that fear is going to stop you from doing anything silly. That first thought in your mind is going to be, I'm going to get off this place as soon as possible so that I don't get into any danger. Every emotion that we have is created so that we can make full use of it. So what I will say is use fear to motivate you. And this is how I use fear to motivate me. So for me, I go back to my parents' place to have dinner a lot. And during the walk back to my parents' place, which is about 5 to 10 minutes away, I do a lot of thinking. And one day I started to think, I want to leave the Air Force. Right? This was in 2016, 2017. I want to leave the Air Force. But I'm very afraid that none of my skills can be transferred. Nobody would want me. I felt very fearful. What I'm going to do to challenge all of you is use that fear to motivate you instead. Think the other way. What I thought of was, if I were to stay in the Air Force until I'm 50 years old, not pursuing my passion, not pursuing what I really wanted to do, my true purpose, how would I feel? I felt even more fearful. And that fear drove me to find another avenue to pursue my passion. And that was how I ended up, all these things combined, and that's how I ended up. This picture is not very good. This was my previous job in Workforce Singapore, another government agency But that was where I really got to see the world. Because in the military, I was like a frog in a well. The people that I know were all in the military. Networking was with other military people. And do you know what is one trait that I see in most military people? They don't like to talk much. Because there are too many secrets. The more you talk, the more likely you are to reveal some secrets. So you can see that their social media are usually very quiet. They don't talk too much about their work. Because that was what I am as well. When I get back home, my wife would ask me, how was your day? I say, okay lor, not too bad. And she'll be asking me, can you tell me more? I say, sorry, I can't tell you. I got too many secrets. I can't tell you. If I tell you, I have to kill you. Right? So I couldn't even tell my wife how I was doing. And that's where I ended up in 2017 when I left my job. I had a great time there, but I felt that I could do more, which is why I decided to do more than just career coaching. And today, what I do is helping people to brand themselves for their career and help them in achieving their financial goals. Because these are the two things that hit me the most. And a lot of people will say that my job in the government is an iron rice bowl. What I'm going to say is that there is no iron rice bowl anymore. No jobs are iron rice bowl. Maybe in the military still a little bit, but I can foresee in the future that this will be totally eliminated. Because even from all the organizations that I've spoken to, that I've been in, a lot of them are now giving contract jobs instead of permanent jobs. And when that contract ends, it's bye-bye to you. They tell you, oh, because of policy, we can't renew your contract. And that's where you find yourself in a position where you don't want to be. Now, there is still the iron rice bowl, but it's not in the jobs. Do you know where it is? It is in your branding, your career brand. What people know you for, what is your expertise? And secondly, what are your marketable skills? Skills that can be used. People would demand them. These are your iron rice bowl. It is within you. It is nothing external. It is internal. And this is why we always say, why the government always say, upgrade yourself. But people take it wrongly. They think that upgrade yourself, that means I will get a job. Now, from my experience, what I'm going to tell you is that no qualifications, no papers in the world will guarantee you a job. If you think that just by taking a short course, a 5-day course, would guarantee you a job, then you are really looking down on the professionals who are in that role. No paper qualifications in the world will guarantee you a job. What it does is it may increase your chances of securing a job. That is the brutal truth. Because a lot of people, when they are unemployed, they say, should I go for a master's degree? Should I go for this course? Should I go for that course? But then you have to weigh the time and effort that you spend. And at the end of the day, if you don't get a job, how is that helpful to you? So there is no iron rice bowl. The iron rice bowl is all within you. Right? So today, my message is to tell people to take charge of your career brand. Right? Of course, you must have something that you can offer to people first. And the next thing is to really take charge of it and let people know about it. So the next 3 strategies all start with B. The first 3 strategies all starts with F. The next 3 strategies all start with B. The first B is be visible. You have to be visible. If you're not visible, then nobody would know your expertise. You have to be visible online and offline. Social media. And that is how I got to meet Lisa. Online. Right? And bringing the online connections offline. Be offline. Be at networking sessions. Networking has started to become a dirty word because people misunderstand the word. Right? And I can tell you, ever since I started networking as an introvert, it is not easy to start networking. But I can give you a few tips. Just keep asking questions. Because when you ask questions, which brings me to my next point, be interested. A lot of times we become too interesting. We want to be interesting. And people get turned off when you are interesting because your interesting is not their interesting. It's like, I don't even understand what you do. And you keep going on and on about it. Just be interested. Just keep asking about that person. As an introvert, we just like people to have the opportunity to talk so that we don't have to talk. And by being interested has helped me find out a lot of things during networking sessions. Now, this is one benefit that a lot of people don't realize. A lot of people think that if you go for networking, you'll get career opportunities, you'll get business opportunities. No, you don't get business opportunities just by going for networking. It is a long process. You have to build the relationship, you have to build the trust. Right? But what I learned most from networking is this one thing. I start speaking to people, I find out what exactly are their expertise, what they are doing, and I started to realize one thing. This person say he's doing a certain form of training. See, how come I never thought about it? I also have this skill. So it opens your mind that there are other avenues that you can explore. There are hidden talents within you that you never thought could make you money, for example. That you could explore a career like that. Before being a career coach, I never knew that there was a career coach position. I was just doing that business, helping people prepare for interviews, helping people with their resumes. I didn't know that there was such a job. So as I speak with people and I realize that there are actually people who pay career coaches to help them in their careers. And the last B is be patient. A lot of times we think that if we want to change our career, we just have to go on social media, keep talking about ourselves, and opportunities will come. Opportunities don't come just like that. Brand has to be built over time. Any brand that is built a one-hit wonder tends to fizzle out. Think about it. Who was the one last prominent person who shot to fame? Remember the S-Hook lady? Yes, she's still selling her stuff, but we hardly hear about her now. But I believe she's still doing pretty well, right? Because there's something else that she has that attracts people to her. But if you think about it, most people who are one-hit wonders tends to fizzle out. And the ones who are consistently there, they'll continue. People will start having more trust in them. You have to put in consistent efforts. You don't go for one networking and then expect to be given career opportunities that people will offer you a job. Think about it. If you are an employer, just by meeting that person that one time, would you give them a job just because he came for a networking session? I wouldn't. I want to know this person deeper. Invite him for coffee. Right? Test him under stressful situations. See whether he can handle stress. See whether he fits my working style. Right? And all this, how can it be achieved during one networking session? It can never be. Right? So these are the 3 B's that you have to keep in mind. I will encourage you to keep in mind so that you can build your career brand. Branding is something over long term. And at the end of the day, for your career, what you want is to have options. Create options for yourself, or risk becoming one of the options, one of many options for others. Okay, so this is me. Let's connect. This is my LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube.